clarification. The written questions that were on the agenda for last week to the Minister of Finance and the opposition leader, they were carried over, but the minister is prepared to provide the answers for those today. So we're going to start with the written questions from last week before we move on to questions from today's statements. With that said, opposition leader, would you like to put your questions to the Minister of Finance from last week? And all three have been indicated a oral response.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Minister. Will the Honorable Minister please confirm for this Honorable House the total amount paid by the government individually to KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, and EY Bermuda for the period commencing April 1, 2020 and ending October 31st, 2021.
Minister?
Mr. Speaker, for Ernst & Young, the total is $4,357,209. For Deloitte, it's $240,274.90. For PwC, $594,200. And for KPMG, $880,132.22, for a total of $6,071,816.12.
Thank you.
Supplementary question or?
Yes, supplementary.
Okay, put your supplementary.
Minister, with that total of approximately $6 million, is it feasible that the minister could have, in effect, set up a department to address special projects, given that we've paid out $6 million? We could have competent people in a special projects area within government that can reduce these expenses.
Approximately $4.3 million of the $6 million that was spent are related to the Morgan's Point project and the engagement and the appointment, by the courts of joint divisional liquidators in the name of E&Y. So if the courts had directed the government to set up a department to do this, I guess the government would have looked at the priority of doing that and staffing it appropriately if we had the people to do that. The courts appointed an independent body to service liquidators, and more than 60+% of the amount spent on consultants is related to the court appointment of the JPLs.
Further supplementary?
No, that's fine.
Okay, would you like to move on to your third question?
My second question.
Second question, rather, yes.
Will the Honorable Minister please inform this Honorable House both the purpose and terms of engagement for each
Speaker, let's start with first is the Cabinet Office. There are 4 engagements. The first relates to engagement with EY, who provided some work analysis on the feasibility of attracting international companies in order to establish a technology hub in Bermuda. That contract had a value of $70,000. The second contract was one granted to PwC for $276,000. They were for professional services rendered with respect to 3 projects. First was to conduct an economic impact assessment on the 1-year residency certificate policy offered by the government. That had a $25,000 cost. Second was to conduct a feasibility study on the establishment of a medical tourism facility in Bermuda. And the third was to conduct a feasibility study for the establishment of vertical farming industry in Bermuda. Third contract relates to the IDT department. Again, the recipient is PwC. $150,000 contract to perform an analysis of the information architecture of government's portal, gov.bm. And then the fourth and final one is professional services, KPMG, related to the post office. And that contract had a value approximately $20,000. The next ministry is the Ministry of Finance. There are 5 different contracts. First was Deloitte for $234,809.90. This is a contract that has been in place for a number of years, and Deloitte provides administration and support services for the Bermuda Tax Information Reporting Portal. The second is with EY Bermuda for the $4.287 million related to Morgan's Point, Caroline Bay. Third is PwC, a series of professional engagements. The first is an evaluation of Georges Bay, that is part of the Caroline Bay project, for the purposes of determining a carrying value on the government's financial statements in support of a request by the Auditor General. Second is for the phase 1 development of an economic and cash flow model for the government of Bermuda related to the development of an economic recovery plan. And the third was to do some work around the unemployment benefit application internal audit report, where they were assessing and reviewing the protocols in place for the unemployment benefit program. All told, that was for $96,500. The fourth one is for $7,490, which is provision of secondment services to the Office of the Tax Commissioner in connection with the update of the payroll tax calculator Excel tool for fiscal 2021-2022. This is an annual assignment in as much as there are changes to the payroll tax calculations, and the work that's done is usually to validate that the calculator that is used by employers to calculate taxes due to the government is up to date and accurate. And then the final one, the fifth one, is the Register of Companies, KPMG, the recipient, $224,943.60. Variety of engagements, 3 in particular. First, implementation of the Economic Substance Act. Second, ROC fee structure review. And the third, ROC fee structure review phase 2. Next ministry is the Ministry of Health. KPMG, the recipient. The amount of the contract, $131,250. Professional services rendered for universal health coverage roadmap. The next ministry is the Ministry of National Security. Bermuda Police Services Department, and the firm being Deloitte. Contract value of $5,465. Professional services rendered in connection with the large tax investigation. Final would be a non-ministry department, the Office of the Auditor General. 2 contracts. The first, KPMG, value of $496,437.22. Professional services rendered in connection with various outsourced public authority audits. These would include Bermuda Monetary Authority for 2019 and 2020, Bermuda Hospitals Board for 2018 and 2019, Bermuda College for 2021, Office of the Auditor General 2018, and 1 public sector accounting standards course. And the other piece of work was with PwC for $71,000. Professional services rendered in connection with various outsourced Quango audits. And this related to audits for the Bermuda Shipping and Maritime Authority for years 2019 2020.
Thank you.
Supplementary of,
Yeah, supplementary.
go ahead.
Can the minister confirm the details of the tendering process for these engagements?
Understood?
Mr. Speaker, I do not have that information at hand. I would have to assume that these engagements go through the normal procurement process unless a waiver is granted by the cabinet.
Okay. And
Supplementary, or you okay?
supplementary, I'd like to have the undertaking
Second
that
thought,
we
go ahead.
bring this information back to the House, please. Because to me, it's
Request. Considering the request to have them get information brought back?
yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, if it is appropriate for me to share the information, we will then bring it back to the House Assembly.
Okay. The minister's taking an indication, depending on whether it's appropriate to be shared publicly here, it will be shared.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, because I think it's important that because of the scale of these engagements, that Bermudians who are professionals in this field, that I was to show that they've had an opportunity to be
No problem.
in these initiatives.
No problem. Okay. That's it for your second question. Would you like to do your third question?
I'll do my third question.
Go right ahead.
Will the Honorable Minister please summarize for this Honorable House the details of the completed engagements by company and ministry for the said period, along with the engagements yet to be completed by company and ministry?
Understood?
Speaker, with respect to completed work by ministry and firm, they are as follows. The Cabinet Office, the vendor being EY, the project being the Technology Hub. EY has submitted their final report for review by a subcommittee. Review is due to take place in the coming weeks. With respect to PwC, there were 4 projects: the 1-year residency certificate, the medical tourism initiative, vertical farming initiative, and the analysis of the gov.bm portal. PwC have submitted their reports, and their contents are being considered by stakeholders for next steps with respect to the 1-year residency certificate. PwC and medical tourism and vertical farming reports have been submitted. Data is being analyzed by stakeholders, and the process is ongoing. And with respect to the gov.bm portal, the work has been completed and a roadmap has been developed for IDT to implement its recommendations. With respect to the Ministry of Finance, PwC, the Georges Bay Accounting and Valuation Review, the provision of an accounting valuation for the Caroline Bay project in connection with consolidated fund audit. That work has been completed and is reflected on the government's balance sheet, where the whopping guarantees the government had to honor now been recognized on our balance sheet for the grand total of $1. Phase 1 of budget and economic cash flow models, that project has been completed as per the agreement. And the third project, the unemployment benefit application internal audit, PwC reviewed the unemployment benefit information technology controls and made recommendations for enhancement. With respect to KPMG, the update on the payroll tax calculator, the update was completed. Payroll tax calculators are in use. Implementation of the Economic Substance Act, KPM built the questionnaire framework, which supported the build of the Economic Substance Declaration System, which is currently in use. And the ROC fee structure review, the revenue engagement is complete and provides a basis for the implementation of a corporate regulatory fee upon completion of appropriate public consultation. With respect to health, again, a KPMG project, Universal Healthcare Coverage Roadmap. The deliverables, which inform the high-level 3-year roadmap, have been completed. With respect to ongoing works by ministry and firm, they are as follows. For the Cabinet Office, PwC has 2 projects, one being Bermuda 2030 initiative. The engagement pertains to an analysis of Bermuda becoming compliant with the United Nations 17 Sustainable Goals by 2030. This work is not yet complete, with an expected completion date early 2022. The second is for the Arbitration Center. The The engagement pertains to research to validate the business need for an international arbitration and dispute and resolution center in Bermuda. Work is not yet complete. An expected completion date in early 2022. The Ministry of Finance, EY, relating to the Caroline Bay and their appointment as joint prisoner liquidators. They will continue their work until the court decides that the work needs to stop. Deloitte, the tax information portal for the treaty unit in the Ministry of Finance. They provide ongoing administration and support services for Bermuda's tax information reporting portal. And in the non-ministry departments, KPMG and audits of public authorities. Audits are both completed and ongoing for various public authorities via the Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your thorough
Supplementary?
Yes, I do have a supplementary.
What's your supplementary?
For those projects that have been completed, can the minister give us a total of the value of the final invoices for such services completed for KPMG, PwC, and EY?
Mr. Speaker, I provided the opposition leader with the individual projects and detail and the costing for such. I think he has within his gift now the information required to perform a sum exercise.
I take that. I accept that.
You accept that? Okay.
Yes.
Further supplementary?
No, that's it, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Thank you. Members, that brings us to a close of the written questions.